Today, I want to share a story with you, a story that might be your own, or perhaps something a loved one is quietly going through without even realizing it. A man in his 60s once came to my clinic. On the surface, he seemed fine, but in his eyes there was a heaviness. He slowly said, "Doctor, I just don't feel like myself anymore, but I guess that's just part of getting old." He wasn't the only one with that thought. So many men after the age of 50 begin to feel like their bodies aren't the same. They feel less energetic, less intimate with their partners, gradually losing their confidence and that deep sense of connection. At first, people around them, even some doctors, might say it's just normal aging. But just a few months later, that man had to be hospitalized, not because of a heart attack, not because of a stroke, but because blood was no longer circulating properly to one of the most sensitive areas of the male body, the place tied to intimacy, self-control, and a man's silent sense of pride. And the sad part, no one had ever warned him about this. My name is Dr. Samuel Grant, and after more than 30 years of working alongside middle-aged and older men, I can say this with certainty. It's not age that steals your vitality, it's poor circulation quietly progressing over time. The good news is, you can do something about it, and it starts with simple things you'll discover in today's video. And most importantly, at the very end of this video, I'll be sharing something that most men have never heard from their own doctor. Yet it could completely change the way you take care of your sexual health after 50. So stay with me until the end because that last part might truly surprise you. By the way, before we dive in, let me get to know you a bit. What's your name and where are you watching this video from? I always love knowing who I'm walking alongside on this journey of men's health. Feel free to leave a comment below so I can say hello. And if you find topics like this helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss our weekly videos. If you have any questions related to men's health, drop them in the comments. I'll gather them and create a video response just for you. Now, let's begin with one of the most overlooked factors, one that lies at the very root of declining male vitality after 50. Part 1's Blood Circulation, the Forgotten Foundation After Age 50. Throughout my years of working with thousands of men over 50, I've heard one familiar sentence more times than I can count. They come into the clinic, sometimes just for a routine checkup, but after a few moments of talking, they often pause and say, "I don't know why, but I just don't feel like myself anymore." When I ask further, they describe feeling low on energy, struggling to concentrate, tiring more easily in the afternoon, and intimacy feels duller. At first, they all assume it's just part of getting older. But after running blood tests, assessing cardiovascular health, and diving deeper into their condition, what I found was not simply aging. It was the flow of blood inside their body slowing down, becoming restricted, and silently affecting every major system. As we age, our blood vessels lose elasticity, the endothelium, the inner lining, becomes damaged, and plaque slowly builds up over time. This reduces blood flow to various organs, from the limbs to the brain and even to the genitals. The result: cold hands and feet, especially in the early morning or evening. Faster fatigue and slower recovery. Mental fog, and most noticeably, a decline in erectile function. Many men believe they've simply lost their edge. But in truth, that's your body signaling that the bloodstream, your life force, is being blocked. And the sad truth is, most men don't realize that this issue can be naturally improved if you approach it the right way from the root, not just with medication as a temporary crutch. And now, you might be surprised to learn that one of the simplest ways to start improving your circulation actually comes from a very familiar food, something many of us already eat every morning. We'll uncover that together in just a moment. My friend, if you're still watching the video at this point, that tells me you truly care about your health, and I deeply appreciate that. Please drop the number 1 in the comments so I know you're still walking this journey with me. Part 2. When poor circulation is more than an inconvenience, it's a hidden danger to your entire body. Many people come to see me for what seem like minor issues. Cold hands and feet, foggy thinking, lightheadedness when standing up. But when I run thorough checks, the results show these aren't just ordinary discomforts. They're signs of a system under strain, struggling due to a lack of proper blood supply. Because when blood doesn't flow smoothly, nearly every essential organ is affected, from the heart and brain to the sexual organs. The heart is often the first to suffer. When the arteries narrow, the heart has to work much harder to pump enough blood, raising blood pressure, causing chronic fatigue, and eventually leading to heart disease. I once treated a man who exercised every morning and ate what seemed like a healthy diet, but he constantly felt drained. After some tests, we discovered his arteries had become so stiff and narrow that his heart was working twice as hard just to keep up with basic needs. The brain also pays a heavy price. When less oxygen reaches the brain, focus slips, reaction time slows, and memory fades. Some people describe it as living behind a fog, being physically present but not truly alert. But perhaps the most personal and least talked about impact is in the pelvic region. The tiny blood vessels here are among the first to be affected by poor circulation. As a result, erections become weaker, pleasure diminishes, and sometimes even desire disappears entirely. This affects more than just the body. It erodes self-esteem, confidence, and the emotional connection with one's partner. But here's what I always tell my patients. These signs are not the end, they are signals. And when addressed the right way through nutrition, lifestyle, and proper knowledge, they can be reversed. And you may be surprised to learn that a vital part of that recovery begins with a food that's been misunderstood for decades, the egg. We'll explore that together in the next section. Part 3. Eggs from a misunderstood food to a silent ally for men's health. If someone had told me 30 years ago that a simple egg could help improve blood circulation, enhance male vitality, and even lift the mood of older men, I probably wouldn't have believed it. Because back then, like many other health professionals, I used to advise patients to limit eggs due to fears of cholesterol and high blood fat levels. But years of clinical practice have shown me something completely different. When men consume eggs the right way, not only are they not harmful, they can actually greatly improve blood flow and bring back a sense of vibrancy to everyday life. I remember a patient named Henry, a 73-year-old retired schoolteacher with a gentle demeanor. He didn't come in because of illness, but because he said he no longer felt like himself. He shared that even though he lived normally and still loved his wife as always, he felt this constant sense of emptiness and distance inside. When I asked about his breakfast, he said, "I just have coffee and some toast to stave off hunger. I've avoided eggs for a long time." The truth is, many people, out of fear of cholesterol, have unintentionally eliminated an incredibly nutrient-rich food that supports cardiovascular and reproductive health. Eggs, when carefully chosen and properly prepared, provide choline, helps regenerate the membrane of blood vessel cells. Arginine, a precursor of nitric oxide, supports blood vessel dilation. B vitamins enhance oxygen transport in the blood. Healthy fats, especially in organic or pasture-raised eggs, beneficial for hormone balance. After adjusting his breakfast and reintroducing eggs in a healthy way, Henry came back for a follow-up looking like a different person, brighter, more at ease. He said, "Doctor, I never thought a small change to my breakfast could make such a big difference." However, like any other food, eggs only work when used the right way. Many people, even with good intentions, end up cooking eggs incorrectly, nullifying their benefits and sometimes even causing harm. Right after this, I'll point out the most common mistakes people make when eating eggs. And if you're still watching at this point, thank you for staying with me. It tells me that you truly care about your health, and I genuinely appreciate that. Please leave the number 3 in the comments so I know you're still on this journey with me. Part 4. Using eggs the wrong way, when good intentions become a silent risk. There's something very interesting, and often misunderstood, about eggs. This nutrient-rich food, when prepared incorrectly, can actually reverse its benefits and quietly harm the very circulatory system you're trying to improve. I've seen many older men start eating eggs again after receiving advice, only to feel heavier, more tired, or uncomfortable. When I asked how they prepared their eggs, the answer was often, just the usual: fry them in regular cooking oil. And that is the root of the problem. Frying eggs in refined vegetable oils like soybean oil, canola oil, or corn oil, especially at high temperatures, creates free radicals and oxidized fats. These substances don't just inflame veins and arteries, they also damage the endothelial lining of blood vessels, worsening poor circulation. It doesn't stop there. Overcooking eggs, charring them, or letting the yolk dry out completely destroys essential B vitamins and choline, nutrients vital for heart and nerve health. And let's not forget, many people pair their eggs with bacon, sausages, or processed meats, thinking it's a complete breakfast, when in fact it floods the body with preservatives, nitrates, and saturated fats, all known to constrict blood vessels and raise blood pressure. You may be trying to do the right thing, but just a small gap in understanding can end up forcing your body to bear additional harm. The good news is, By simply changing your cooking method, you can restore eggs to their rightful place as a healing food, one that lives up to its full potential. And right after this, I'll guide you step by step on how to use eggs properly to preserve their nutrition and support your circulation, vitality, and mental clarity. Part 5. How to use eggs correctly, simple, effective, and tailored for men over 50. Once you understand both sides of how eggs work, the next natural question is, so what's the best way to eat eggs daily without causing harm? Well, this is one of my favorite parts, because it's simple, easy to implement, yet can bring powerful changes, especially for those looking to naturally improve circulation and reproductive function. I often advise my patients to begin with a straightforward routine. 2 clean eggs per day, preferably free-range, organic, or pasture-raised. Soft-boiled, poached, or lightly pan-cooked over low heat. Use a small amount of extra virgin olive oil or grass-fed butter. This cooking style preserves key nutrients such as choline supports blood vessels and memory. Arginine boosts nitric oxide production, helps dilate blood vessels. B vitamins facilitates oxygen transport and maintains energy levels. You can pair this with a handful of dark leafy greens like spinach or kale, rich in natural nitrates. Half an avocado provides healthy fats that support testosterone and brain function. A sprinkle of turmeric and black pepper boosts anti-inflammatory effects and absorption. This isn't a restrictive diet. It's a way to offer your body a healthy, steady start each morning, consistently, without pressure, without fuss. Many of my patients begin to notice changes within just 7 days. Deeper sleep, warmer extremities, and a gentle return of emotional closeness, without rushing or forcing anything. And now that you know what to eat and how to eat it, it's time to step back and look at the bigger picture of men's health after 50. Circulation, hormones, and deep emotional connection. Part 6. One small change, one bigger journey. After many years of listening, observing, and walking alongside men in their 60s, I've come to a profound realization. Your body has never truly given up on you unless you give up on it first. What you're feeling, the persistent fatigue, cold hands every morning, or the sense of distance from your partner, these are not signs of an ending, but rather quiet reminders that it's time to start caring for yourself again. We began this journey with something as simple as an egg. But as we've moved through each section, you've clearly seen, an egg, when properly understood and used correctly, can support blood circulation, restore physiological reflexes, and help you reconnect with life. On the other hand, just by using it the wrong way, you could unknowingly be sabotaging the recovery efforts you're working so hard on. You've also come to understand that poor circulation doesn't just affect the physical body. It spreads to your mind, memory, emotions, and sometimes even to that once deep intimate connection. But here's the most important thing. You can begin to change all of that without waiting, without going to the hospital, and without doing anything overly complicated. All it takes is this belief. No matter your age, you deserve to live a fulfilling, healthy, and deeply connected life. My dear friend, we began today's video with what seemed like a simple story about a man in his 60s who no longer felt like himself. And step by step, you discovered that the real cause wasn't age, but poor blood flow, something that can absolutely be improved. We also talked about a familiar food, the egg, which has been misunderstood for years, but when used properly, can become a bridge to restoring blood vessels, hormones, and the sense of connection that may have long faded. No need for complex or expensive solutions. Sometimes, just a few minutes each morning to thoughtfully prepare your meal, to listen to your body, is enough to change how you feel about yourself. You don't need to return to your 30s. What you do need and fully deserve is a healthy body, a clear mind, and a deeply connected life right now at your current age. If you found this content helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell, so you won't miss any of the upcoming videos I'll be sharing, all with the aim of walking with you on your path to a healthier, more proactive, and sustainable life. Thank you for spending your time watching until the end of this video. Wishing you strong health, resilience, and joy in every phase of your journey. I'll see you again in the next video.